I literally.
Where the first thing anybody hears is just me saying you, Ted.
I thought you've been starting the show. I thought once you start talking, the show
but I never.
started.
I've never started the show just cursing you. And I just want to. I literally want to. I want to start. I want to hit record, and the first thing that anybody hears, because I mean, that'd be kind of weird, right? First thing you hear, you don't hear like an intro, no music or anything.
No context.
Just fuck you, Ted.
No, I think that's great. I think the cyberbullying victimization of me would go off the chart, and you'd be vilified even more than you probably are now. So yeah, let's keep up the good work out there.
You know what? Hold on a second. I know I tell you that people love you, but it's swinging.
I know you've been lying to me.
No.
I know you're lying to me.
It's swaying back towards me.
Wow.
Okay, it is. I mean, because after 111 shows, I mean, I get stuff like, I honestly get stuff like why do you pick on Ted? And when I get stuff like, I understand why. What was the last one? It was from last week when we were together in Arizona. It goes, I can't believe that you had a show after you spent 5 days with Ted. And you didn't kill him.
Who said this?
One of the listeners.
No,
I was just like,
listener.
Yeah,
but
I was just like, yeah. You know how hard that is? And I told Mark yesterday again after you left the bar. Yeah, we're pretty hardcore alcoholics. I said, you know what? I go, I spent 5 days with Ted, and he looks at me and goes, I don't know how.
Well, it's kind of a misnomer because number one, other than the plane ride there, just golfing. Because number one, I think we were in the same cart pretty much the whole time. And we obviously play two different games, so you're on one side of the course, I'm on the other, so I don't even see you until we get to the green.
What?
And
I drove with you a bunch of times. I slept in the same room with you. I ate every meal with you.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, you held my...
I guess now that
you're talking about somebody who booked a tea time 18 hours after you booked the same tea time.
That was
in front of all of us.
That was great. So yesterday, it's unseasonably warm in Chicago, right? It's like 70 degrees.
It still is.
Okay.
It still is.
So yesterday, the three of us get together, and we play some golf after work, and we're sitting at the bar, and Ted's just like, I'm going to make a tea time. And I said, no, you know what? I can just, we're literally... The bar we're sitting at is connected to the pro shop. So I said, I'll just walk over.
Yeah, the course is connected to the bar that we go to.
So I said, I'll walk over right now. And I made a tea time, and I sat back down. And
the two of us were downstairs alone for 5 minutes talking.
Right.
And you came back down and made a declaration. All right, we're all set Wednesday, 3:30. And I said, 3:30? And you go, yeah, I need to start a little bit later. And Ted goes, yeah, 3:30 is better for me too. Later's better. So 3:30 Wednesday, right?
We did. I forgot about that.
And I go, we're all like, yeah, okay, 3:30 Wednesday.
I remember that now in hindsight. Yeah. But at the time...
And then
something happened.
And then 18 hours later, at 1 o'clock today, Ted sends a group text to us saying, "All right, just book 3:20 on Wednesday."
Yeah. You know what happened, Mark? I'll tell you. This is what happened after I left the bar. I got back.
Oh, I know what happened.
I took a half an edible.
The other half.
The other half.
I couldn't.
Jesus
sleep.
Christ.
I think I fell asleep, and then I woke up, and then. I was watching some boring golf videos to help put me to sleep. Not because I'm trying to get a tip, Mark, because I don't need any tips. I watched golf videos for entertainment purposes.
Yesterday.
Mark, you always say that's because you're always winning.
No, you played great yesterday.
I didn't think I played good at all. But
you were 4 strokes worse than me, and you missed 3 putts that should have won it.
Yeah, I mean, all you guys played good, and I think obviously everybody left a lot of strokes out there. Lots of strokes.
And we tied with our handicaps.
Yeah,
we tied.
Yeah.
You guys played great.
Yeah. Let's try to keep up those good times rolling tomorrow.
I have nothing to say. I'm in a slump. Haven't won this year against Mark, and just lost like 3 in a row to Ted.
That's
so
sad.
This is like hell for me.
That's sad.
Yeah, this is absolute hell for me. Yeah, yesterday I'm the best putter you know.
As soon as you said that,
we played 9 holes, and I 3-putted 6 of the holes.
Dude, those were incredibly difficult greens. They were.
The slowest greens I've ever played. They were fairways. We were putting on fairways. But I should have adjusted.
Remember when the PGA said Jordan Spieth's the best putter in the world, and they never putted good after that? I mean, that was like 2015. He putted good at the Masters that one weekend, and everyone thought he was the greatest thing ever. And then he never putted good again after that.
You know what? I'm going to call one of those 900 numbers.
Don't be that guy.
I'm going to call one of those 900 sex numbers.
Cinnamon.
Yeah. Do they still do that?
I don't think so.
They don't have 900. They don't have.
No, you could just www.900.
Free porn everywhere. Yeah. But I mean, you can't talk to a live. You can talk to a live person online, right?
I'm sure.
Like a chat bot.
What about for those like those people that's like, I don't get on the internet. I like
shouldn't
my
say
porn
that. I'm
on
sure
phone.
you could. I'm sure there are phone
numbers. There's got to be that
still.
service.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't there be?
Is that like the same as the Peep Show? Like, remember the
Peep Show? You would go watch. It was at a strip club or at
it was a bookstore.
Bookstore.
Yeah,
Nudie bookstore.
Yeah, there wouldn't be. Yeah, it was where I've never been to a peep show that's in the bookstore, which is pretty.
I think that's where all of them are.
Yeah, they're not in strip bars. They're actually in
No,
bookstores.
strip bars are just naked women right there.
There's
You don't
nothing to
have
peep at. There's nothing to peep at. Yeah, it's right. It's out in the open. So they give you like a keyhole size.
There's a guy. Could you imagine at a strip club? There's one guy and he brings his own little cardboard wall with a little hole.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting in there just stroking the monkey.
Sir, you don't have to voyeur.
Yeah.
They're
Old,
here.
old habits are hard to break.
Sir, we can all see you. Okay. Yeah. You're the only one who's faking this up and pull your pants up. Yeah, that's not a thing.
It's funny. I remember the last time I've been to a strip bar, which has been years. But the funny thing is,
I was there.
over time. What I liked about the strip bar was not so much the entertainment on stage, but it was just watching the guys, watching the girls. That was actually my entertainment, just to see how enthralled,
Great people watching.
how
right?
enthralled and enchanted they were by
It is the saddest place on the.
Of course, it's sad. That's why we're there.
You know
Because
what?
I have to feel better
I'd
about
rather-
myself.
I'd rather go to a children's hospital for the kids that aren't. That there's more joy in the kids that aren't going to make it through at a children's hospital than in a strip club. That is the saddest place on the planet.
I saw a man in a 3-piece suit at like 11 at night, and you could tell he didn't come from work. He actually dressed up just that way to go to the strip bar, and he was
Who
obviously
puts on a 3-piece suit to go to a
he was
strip
obviously by himself.
He's putting on a show.
By himself.
club? Is that a thing?
I don't know. I mean, he's
I-
probably
I
looking
I guess
like
you dress up to impress the
Yeah.
the
strippers.
really sad.
the ones who are going to fake being impressed by you no matter what you're wearing.
no matter what.
Yeah,
When
you
Ted
can wear
walks in his
anything, they're going to be
sweats-
like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That reminds me. I got to do some updates. Where is this? Let's see. Oh, Trisha from Boulder, Colorado asked if Ted snuck in the question last week about the guy who wears sweats so that he could say wearing sweats is cool.
That's just a coincidence. That was a coincidence. Nope, I did not.
She's thinking Ted was responsible for last week's tip.
Like
Yeah,
I staged
he
it.
wrote that-
I staged the tip.
Yeah, so that you could. Well,
Like
if
an
you
extra
send
mile
it in, I mean, it was so obvious to me to pick it. But now that I'm thinking,
Yeah.
you sneaky bastard, you
I'm not-
could have sent that, and then all you did was like kind of relegate that sweats were cool.
Well, number one, I'm not that motivated or that clever, so that couldn't have been me. It was like Joe
yeah,
Jackson.
you were probably super drunk and high.
at
You're
the-
probably making tea times.
like the White Sox. You know, he was too stupid to engage in a conspiracy. That's why he was never part of the Black Sox conspiracy.
Joe
I love
Jackson,
that you can't.
Shoeless Joe.
Yes,
I
Shoeless
love-
Joe. Yeah, Shoeless Joe.
I
just
absolutely
too
love
dumb.
that you always go back to that. Whenever we mention dumbness, that's his go-to dumb
He
thing.
batted,
Shoeless
he,
Joe
he-
Jackson.
He batted,
Shoeless
he
Joe
batted
Jackson.
From
370.
Harvard University.
Batted 372 in the World Series. He's an imbecile. He's not engaged in anything. So,
He's an imbecile.
He
Okay.
helped split the
he
atom.
was a useless idiot. That's what he was.
Oh my God! All right, and we talked about skitching a couple episodes ago, and grabbing. That's and in case you don't know, it's like grabbing car bumpers and riding behind the cars in the snow. Larsa from Fresno, California, said her and her friends did that on skateboards. Yeah, down the street.
Yeah.
and they called it bumper riding or bumping.
Or yeah, that's that they did that for the opening of Back to the Future. Remember?
Oh yeah, when he's doing the
Yeah.
when he's doing that. Yeah, I just it seems so dangerous, man.
Yeah.
I mean, when you wipe out on that, at least when we wiped out, I mean, we're on snow.
Yeah. No, that's crazy.
Clem in Toronto, Canada, said they call it bobbing. And a couple other people said they sent it in. I didn't get the names. They called it bum riding or car surfing.
I heard of car surfing. Yeah.
I don't know. All of that sounds
None of it seems.
I don't know how we came up with it or who.
sketching. That
Yeah.
just doesn't make
It
sense.
seems very unnecessary. It's one of those activities that doesn't seem that has any upside to it.
There's tons of upside. You get chased. Oh, we love to do that. Get chased.
Oh
the
yeah, guys
the guy would
stop,
stop.
yeah, or they would slam on the brakes.
Or the better ones were the guys that just went
Oh,
crazy up and down the
that
streets.
happened.
And we just throw. Oh, we had a blast throwing you all over the place.
Yep.
You go flying into curbs and trees and cars. Oh yeah,
I could
absolutely.
still vivid. This is 40 years ago. I could still picture some of the cars that we did this on and some of the drivers
Yeah.
and the antics and the things that happen.
Well,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
when you're a kid, you think obviously stuff that would annoy us as adults, we thought was funny as kids. Like for example, I remember meeting a couple of friends when we were like, I want to say like between 10 and 12. There was a guy, he was like in a utility truck sleeping, and so we just knocked on this passenger window, and he was like dead asleep. And he woke up, and of course he was like super pissed, and we were laughing our ass off, and we ran away, and we felt so good about each other, like we just spliced the human genome, and and got Joe Jackson exonerated from the Black Sox scandal of 1919. So that's a joke.
We used to stage fights. Okay, so guys would drive down the side street, and we would stage it.
Yeah,
There were
we did
5 or
that
6 of us.
Like a knife fight.
No, they were just beating the shit out of this guy,
Yeah.
right? just to get a chase.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one, this is so funny. We absolutely thought this guy, so this guy comes out, and instead of chasing us, he goes to help our buddy. And basically, we had to come back and stop him from forcing our buddy into his car. Yeah. I have no idea what was going to happen.
Citizen's arrest.
Dude, I have no idea what was going to
That's
happen.
a pedophile's wet dream right there.
Sounds like a kidnapping in progress.
Staging a citizen's arrest, a pedophile.
Yeah, I have no idea. No, he went after the guy we allegedly had beaten up, and next thing you know, instead of chasing us,
a hospital run.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was going to be a hospital run right after with his dead body. After he sexed it. But yeah, that's when I think that kind of ended it because it wasn't. It got way too scary.
It wasn't funny anymore.
It wasn't funny anymore because we all had spots to run to. Like we all knew what gangway. Like this guy would run down that gangway and jump over that fence and go through there, and he was gone. Right? Yeah. We all had spots. Yeah, but we never thought anybody would.
Yeah. Well, I mean, somebody going to perceive something the wrong way.
I never remembered that. I didn't remember that till right now that there was an issue. Yeah. Oh, that's so bad. Let's see. Oh, this is my favorite. Okay. Will from Huntley, Illinois, about 20 miles from here.
Yeah.
He found a site called Dogging Finder, Illinois.
I don't know what that
and if you don't remember what that is, you guys got to remember from our guy. That's a place for outdoor sex.
Oh, that's right. Dogging. That's right. Dogging. Yeah.
There's a website.
There's a website called Dogging Finder, Illinois. Yeah, where you can find places to have sex outside.
What's the top 3 spots? Because I know you run that site.
I did not go. I did not go to that website.
I wouldn't want that on my search engine.
You just bookmarked it for later. Okay. I
mean, if you're a kid or a guy, I mean, what does it matter? And somebody else said that you can go on Google Maps, and Google Maps has spots for dogging.
Sounds like most of them are in Huntley.
No, I mean,
which rhymes with the other word.
All across the world. There's literally, so Google Maps has something set up where you can go in there and find places to dog.
Top 5
the internet.
Top 5 dogging websites or dogging locations.
Come on, I mean, you have to figure that the top 80% of all websites on the planet have something to do with sex.
Well, it is the oldest profession in the world.
Sex is not a profession. It's something you do for fun. Hooking is a profession, Ted.
Oldest profession in the world. Prostitution, obviously. So, but I guess if it's consensual between 2 adults where there's no money exchanging hands just because they're meeting at a location that's known for,
fornicating,
ejaculating, and various other.
Jesus.
I mean, that's part of fornicating. Is fornicating ejaculating? I don't even know. Like, what exactly is fornicating?
Fornicating is sex.
The act.
It's funny. I never actually knew. That's a word like I've heard for years. But I actually, if someone asked me, like, what exactly does that mean? I actually wouldn't know. I mean, I know it's obviously sex.
So you don't have much carnal knowledge.
Carnal knowledge.
Oh man. That is terrible.
I got caramel knowledge.
Caramel knowledge. Yes.
Are you? Isn't it caramel? Caramel.
I've been saying that word wrong.
I don't like. I don't like it, so I don't care what I say.
It's too gooey.
Carmel, Indiana.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Nothing now.
Wait, is that where you're from?
No, God no.
Actually,
what does that mean? God no.
Actually,
you have relatives that live in the.
That's south. I'm from Northwest Indiana.
Oh, the southern Indiana.
Where the good people are.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Where all the taxpayers are.
Oh, I see. Where the tax base is. Okay.
What? Did you hear Chicago wants to have a city income tax?
Yeah.
We already have one. It's called an entertainment tax. We pay it on everything, 1% on everything. Movie tickets, sporting events, you name it.
Yeah. I don't. You know what's funny? I don't really go into the city for anything.
No. Remember the soda tax? They got rid of that. That was like so unpopular. Yeah, it was like a few years ago. It was like they taxed.
It lasted like a week.
Yeah, like if you buy which I'm not a soda drinker, but if you bought like a bottle or a big gallon of soda, they charge you like an extra 8 or 10 cents, and people just
like that,
lost their mind. Because of course
nobody. It ended up being. I think they actually had it, and then they raised it. They made it more than whatever they said it was going to be.
It got repealed pretty quickly.
Yeah,
but then there's like a bag tax. So like I think in some grocery stores, like to get a bag, it's like 7 cents, and that goes to the city because of course due to their ongoing mismanagement and overpaying employees for work that they probably don't perform.
No, the bag tax is an environmental thing.
Oh, I see.
So that people bring their own bags.
Okay.
So you know what? I have a house full of bags for that, and you know what? I never ever bring to the grocery store my own bags. I never. Yeah. I never think about that.
Well, I do see a lot of people doing that now. So yeah.
Yeah, they're just better than me.
Is that so? When you get like a seatbelt violation, they're finding you just because your own personal. They're worried about your personal safety, not because they want the revenue for the city, right? Is that kind of the same concept?
Seatbelts? No. Seatbelt saves lives.
Yeah.
No, seatbelts definitely are good.
Of course they're good.
Don't you wear a seatbelt?
Of course I wear a seatbelt, but I'm just saying if technically if you're going like say 20 miles an hour down a residential street,
So you don't wear a seatbelt all the time.
I should wear it more often than not, but yeah. But I do wear it on the highway. But so I'll tell you a funny story. So
I bet you he wears a seatbelt out of every 50 times he's in the car.
No, I was driving on a main street, after work, and it was heavy traffic, like literally 20 miles an hour, bumper to bumper, and there was a police officer in the intersection ahead where I was approaching, and I didn't know I was there. So like as soon as I'm stopped in traffic, he comes up to my car, and obviously I'm not wearing a seatbelt, and he basically gives me the speech. Well, there was a guy, he got into a fiery rollover car crash, and he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and he got ejected from the vehicle. I said, yes, I said, I agree with that, but was that guy me? And I said the chances of me actually that happening to me in bumper to bumper stop traffic are pretty nil. Of course, he gave me a ticket anyway, but the point was
that's not the point though, because if you wear it intermittently, you're going to forget sometimes, or it's not a big deal, and then
it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Yeah. So.
I don't think I can get in the car without putting my seatbelt on.
You don't even know you have it on
because it goes ding 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 ding.
So my old man had a car that he bought had automatic seatbelts.
Oh, I remember those. I remember those. Yeah.
And he figured out how to defeat it.
Well, now they have those things. You just click into the
but he figured out how to not to get it on.
What did he do?
Because he wasn't going to be forced to wear a seatbelt.
Yeah.
And I know a bunch of other people that did that. Like it was before the internet.
Is that like the COVID?
They figured out.
So before you had to be forced to get the COVID vaccine, then we were forced to wear a seatbelt. So this was like just a progression of a loss of personal freedoms, so to speak.
I don't think you. That doesn't seem like you can compare those two.
So,
all right. And
anyway.
And with Ted's
that'll be another discussion.
Freedom and living in a cabin down by the woods. Let me do this. Welcome to the Real 3 Idiots podcast. We are really glad you're here today. We got an awesome guest in a little bit. And with that said, we got to get to Ted's tips, because today is a very special tip. If you've followed us online, you followed us on social media, you know Ted is going toe-to-toe with Dear Abby today.
She's a pro.
But
she's
you know what?
She's a legend.
She's a legend, but I'll tell you what. Okay. I think your tip, because we took one of her tips, and Teddy's going to take care of it, and then we'll see what he says, and then I will tell you what she said.
Because I have no idea. Yeah, because I have no idea what she says.
No,
which is good.
I did not share that with you.
No, don't share that with me.
Nope, Mark and I know it, but you do not know what she said.
I like.
Yeah,
that
I'm
idea.
going to have to read it again because I just onced over it.
Well, I'm going to read it.
Oh, you are? Okay,
Wait,
I got
on a side note.
No,
you
I
know
mean
how this
the
works?
answer. No, the answer.
Oh, I got the answer. Don't worry about
on
it.
a side note, so there's Dear Abby, but then there's Ann Landers. Isn't Ann Landers the sister of Dear Abby?
Yeah.
So they're both little nosy busybodies that know everything. Huh?
Whoa.
There's two of them.
Okay.
What does that make you?
It is mono
You do the
e
same
mono.
thing.
That makes
You do
me
the same
that
thing
makes
that
me
they
the
do.
emperor.
Yeah, but Ted does it drunk. Ted does it drunk and high, so that's completely different.
Okay.
They're probably sober when they. I mean, probably.
And if I were the emperor, Mark,
You're assuming a lot.
And if I were the emperor, I would put them in the dungeon.
Well, they have time. They have time to digest it. Ted gets his a week in advance and looks at it just before.
Just before, because he did it again today.
And this is live, no editing.
Yeah, literally at 6:29, he says, "Send me the tip." Yeah, send me the tip. Okay, Mark, you have a song?
I do.
All right, do your thing, man.
Time flies. Doesn't seem a minute since the last show Matt had 2 idiots in it. All changed, don't you know, Mark? He showed up like a walk in the park. On a show on this level, it's no ordinary venue. It's Iceland, or Nebraska, or Oregon, or this place. One night in Ted's head, and the world's your tavern. The bars are open, but the crown's not free. You might find the devil selling extra seats. One night in Ted's head makes the world just crumble. Can't be too careful with your crown and coke. Someone called a popo, 'cause this ain't no joke. Teddy.
Wow.
Oh,
looks like
man.
looks like you get your kicks above the waistline, sunshine.
God, could you have one night in Ted's head?
One night in Ted's head.
You could sell that. That would be. Remember that Being John Malkovich thing?
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, where you get in his head and you live in his life.
John Cusack's in
How
that
would
movie.
you like to do one night in Ted's head?
You know what I was thinking the other day? I was thinking
We could charge you millions for that.
I hope I don't 4-putt like Matt. God, that would suck.
3-putt.
It felt like a 6-putt.
Sure did.
It felt like a 6-putt. Might as well an 8-putt. I don't know.
Oh,
that was a joke as far as he knows.
So, Mark, you have a friend who can be the third idiot because Ted dies tonight. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
My soul died 50 episodes ago, Mark. So I'm
You know, I figured out, speaking of the third idiot, I figured out why Matt never reads any disparaging remarks from listeners about me.
Because there are none.
There are none. You're great.
No,
Everybody loves you.
Yeah.
He's withholding because he knows the second I hear some negative feedback about me, I'm done. I'm off the show.
Really? Listen,
I can't take it.
Mark,
I wouldn't be able to take it.
Mark, here's
Ted.
a pro tip.
That'd be so awesome.
Here's a pro tip, Mark. The more haters you have, that means you're doing something right.
I'm
in
teasing.
general.
pretty thick-skinned.
In
but
general.
Yeah, Mark. Somebody said they didn't like your voice sounded weird when you were really, really sick. That's it. I'm out.
Done.
I'm out. Fuck all those people. I'm gone.
All
All right. Let's see. Ted's tip is brought to you by the hottest new Find a Friend site on the internet. Be Vladimir Putin's new best friend. Due to the recent events where most, if not all of the people close to the Russian leader Vladimir Putin have recently thrown themselves off of buildings or have vanished without a trace, Vladimir is short on buddies. If you sign up now, you can be Vlad's newest best friend, enjoying everything that hanging out with the billionaire leader of a completely free and democratic country has to offer. If you sign up now, you get an autographed picture of Tucker Carlson and free life insurance. Go to Be Vladimir Putin's newest best friend right now and sign up for the experience of a lifetime.
I like that.
There's a phone number too, Ted, that you can call, a 1-800 number.
Sputnik, 1-800-Sputnik.
It's a 1-900 number. He just talks.
No, that's what it is. Yeah.
This is Vladimir. Oh, you have such nice ass.
This will take 30 seconds. This reminds me of our latest story. So Joseph Stalin, back in the day, before he was poisoned by his fellow inner circle, I guess he was so paranoid that anybody was more popular than him, he would actually have his inner circle executed. So this one guy who was like an up-and-comer, who was like,
Remember this story, Matt?
Who was an up-and-comer in the Communist Party. He wasn't even like an enemy. He was his friend.
4 times.
Yeah, and I guess he was like a younger, better-looking guy, and this guy got some applause at some gathering, and Stalin didn't like that, so he obviously didn't make it very far after that.
I'm almost 100% positive that that's what's happening in Russia. Yes.
But on the positive note, he did like to give little old ladies ride homes from in Stalingrad, because he was he wrote. That's how he rolled.
Okay.
When he wasn't executing
and
25 million people in
moving
Russia.
on.
Right.
Okay, so he did one good thing and just 25 million bad things.
All right, so you're going to read Dear Abby right now.
I'm going to read Dear Abby,
Okay.
a letter from Dear Abby right now, and then Teddy is going to give the tip, and then we'll go over what.
So he's going to respond to the letter with the tip.
Yeah. And this just came out this last week.
And we're going to compare it to how she
answered.
Okay.
My sister Claudia recently asked me on Saturday to take her to a doctor's appointment Tuesday. Well, I forgot. She didn't call me the night before to remind me, like normal people do, nor did she call me the next day to confirm. She ended up calling our cousin who took her. Now Claudia is mad at me. I think it was both of our faults. I have a lot going on, and Claudia's, and I have a lot going on, and it's partially Claudia's fault for not calling me. She was really upset. Is she being childish? By the way, Claudia is 13 years older than I am and has always been jealous of me. Just plain forgot in Ohio.
Okay, hey, just plain forgotten Ohio. I'm going to try to help you. Maybe not as good as the professional Dear Abby out there, but here's my take on it. Okay, I'm assuming you're both grown women, probably in your mid-40s, early 50s. And so here's the thing. Obviously, Claudia was wrong. I think she's entitled. I think as a grown woman, number one, she asked you a full 5 days in advance, okay? And realistically, yeah, could you have remembered? But I think she's putting a duty on you that it's a burden on you that you don't necessarily have to entertain. You're not responsible.
Wait a minute. Stop this. Yeah. Are you saying the woman who said, yes, I will drive you,
yes,
and then forgot and is now pissed at her sister is right?
I think Claudia is more wrong because I think she put a burden on her sister because she didn't, she asked her several days in advance. And yeah, is the sister partially at fault? I'm going to say 20. I'm going to sign 20%, but it's Claudia's responsibility to at least make sure the night before she could have. I'm assuming she could text her. She could email her. So I think in the future, to avoid these potential miscommunications, you need to set boundaries by saying that anytime this type of scenario unfolds in the future, she should email or text you. Probably, I'm assuming text in advance the night before any type of appointment. Or, if for some reason the sister couldn't make it, you could use Uber to go to your appointment and back, and then maybe the sister could cover the expense. So that way, no harm, no foul. See, problem solved.
Okay. So
okay.
But part of it's right. I mean, I'm not right or wrong. Part of it is a good idea to say, listen, I'll take you Tuesday, but do me a favor. Please remind me the day before.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if she doesn't
Which
remind
that
her,
didn't happen.
Which she did not say.
She did not say.
She did
So
not
she
say
ended
that.
up leaving her sister hanging, who had an appointment at the hospital.
Yeah. So the sister, I'm assuming.
No,
she
the sister ended up getting a ride.
Yeah.
Right, but
Yeah.
she left her hanging.
But she
had to
put
look for
she put a
plan
burden
B.
on her cousin, who luckily was available. But like I said, ultimately it's the sister's responsibility. It's ultimately Claudia's responsibility to make sure that since she's doing her a favor, to make sure that ride. So basically, tell her a few days in advance, but then remind her at least the night before via text. So that seems pretty simple and common sense.
Wait a minute. And am I the only one that sees that this woman is being a bitch about the whole thing? First of all, she goes, she didn't call me the night before like normal people do.
She was being a bitch about it in that regard.
Obviously, she's being passive aggressive when she says that, and when she says she's jealous of me, which really has nothing to do with this
and
situation.
the jealousy part.
So obviously, there's some unresolved issues between these siblings that really have nothing to do with this tip. But I'm just looking at the tip itself, and based on the tip alone, I would just say since the sister's doing Claudia a favor, it's ultimately the sister's responsibility, Claudia's responsibility, to make sure that her sister's available the night before to follow up. That's not a big ask. If she obviously knows about the appointment 5 days in advance, she sure knows about it the night before. So again, I would just set those boundaries in the future, so those expectations, so there's no future miscommunication.
I agree.
Correct.
I agree 60% on that.
There's no future miscommunication.
But I do have one question.
60%.
No, I do. I think that But I have one question.
Sure.
When she didn't arrive at our house at the agreed upon time, why didn't she just fucking call her and say, "Hey, dude, where are you?" And she would have been like, "Oh shit, I forgot. I'll be there in 10 minutes."
That's a good point. She didn't even call.
She never even called her when she didn't show up. She didn't make an effort to call her. The first thing she did was say,
Call somebody else.
"Fuck her, I'll call somebody else."
Yeah.
There's something going on in that
obviously
relationship.
there's some unresolved issues in that relationship that have nothing to do with this tip.
You would have called me, right? Of
course.
Yeah.
I'd say, "Hey, Mark, where are you?" And then, if for some reason you couldn't make it, I would make alternate arrangements. Luckily, this cousin was available to do it. What if she's not? Then she would have to reschedule the appointment. Or like I said, just say in plan B, if for some reason I can't make it, if I made that promise to you, take an Uber, whatever town she's in. I'm sure Uber's available. I'll cover the charges back and forth, because ultimately she just needed a ride to the doctor and back, right? So,
all right. I think
I am blown away right now.
I think Ted's tip is pretty good, but I also think that he probably struck gold with the end statement saying what he just said. I think Abby's going to be spot on. I didn't read it. Let's go. Let Abby roll.
Okay.
Let's hear what Abby said.
She agreed with me. I was absolutely 100%. Everything Ted just said, Abby agreed with. He literally just said.
So I'm right?
Yeah. Dear Abby said exactly what Ted said, okay? And then she said, maybe next time, don't ask the sister, because it seems like it's a sign of contention. Just ask somebody else. I cannot believe that Ted gave the exact same answer as Dear Abby.
Wait a minute.
In almost every way.
Dear Teddy.
With an IE.
Oh my God! I thought for sure this would go and just be a completely different thing. Ted, I'm sickened to say this right now, but Ted is a professional advice giver.
So did she go into detail about?
No, she just said basically
doesn't need to.
She said
so. It was a short answer.
Yeah, she said it's no big deal that you forgot. Okay, she had a plan B. You have a lot going on, and maybe next time she should ask somebody else, so that you guys don't have this issue. Which is I'm telling you, it's exactly what Ted said.
Well, Ted said, "Next time, remind me." He didn't say.
Well, I mean, it's basically the exact same thing. Either remind or don't even bother. But he ended up saying, don't bother and just do something else.
It's ultimately Claudia's responsibility to make sure the sister's available.
Dumbstruck.
So you know about thing about Dear Abby's. I've seen her advice. Yeah, she obviously has a limited amount of space to write, because I think she answers like 2 or 3 tips at a time. So she can't write a book, so she has to keep it brief. So
I am absolutely awestruck.
How old is Dear Abby? Is she like 90? Is she like
I don't know.
Queen,
She's got the same picture for like the last. She's got the same picture for like the last 70 years. Damn.
Is she like Norman Bates' mom? Maybe there's like somebody there like writing for. I'm thinking there's like the skeleton in front of a typewriter, and there's like a guy dressed up in women's clothing.
I am freaking out. I am literally freaking out right now. I cannot believe.
Keep those tips coming, baby.
Oh man, I can absolutely not believe that you got that right. Same as Dear Abby. I thought you'd go off the rails.
Seemed like a no-brainer. Makes sense.
Good job, Ted.
You know,
Let's move on.
I think Mark is right. I think we have to make you drink more.
This coffee is
It's
good.
too rational.
Yeah, you're way too rational.
Too
I mean,
sensible.
you just agreed with a woman who spent the last, I don't know, is she 90 years old? The last 70 years giving advice to people.
I'm looking it up right now. She is 104.
She's the oldest living woman in the world.
And people are still asking for her advice.
Yeah.
You know what? I
But
wonder.
she thinks it's 1954. That's the problem.
I wonder if her and her sister, because they're both doing it, I wonder if they're long dead. No one said anything.
Someone's picked up the slack.
And Ted is
Ted is,
moonlighting.
yeah.
And someone's collecting their Social Security checks because their bodies are still
Yeah, I mean, how could it be that it's that close and Teddy got that right? And I guess it's right, or maybe they're both wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's just advice, so it's obviously subjective. But hey, just real quick before I forget, I would like to introduce a new segment in the future.
Okay.
You're going to think this is funny. Write your friend's obituary. Or actually, write your friend's autopsy report and then the obituary.
So once again, you've mixed up.
That's a good one.
We talked about this.
Yeah, we talked about
Ted
it.
doesn't know the difference between an autopsy,
Let's make it an
a
autopsy report.
toxicology report, or an obituary.
Let's make it an autopsy report.
But you
Let's
don't know the
scratch-
difference between any.
But Ted,
the three of them.
Let's scratch the word obituary.
The other night we were talking about this, and I said, Ted, you just described an obituary, not an autopsy report.
An
let's make it
autopsy is how somebody died.
Yes.
You can't
Let's make
fake that.
Yeah, let's make it the autopsy. So I'm going to
but
ghost
you
write.
can't
somebody's
fake that.
What do you mean?
You can't. An obituary
No,
is something
he's
you
saying-
write about someone's life after they're dead.
Yeah, not that part.
He's saying
Forget
guess
that
the
part,
way
yeah.
your friends. So
No, your friend. We're just hypothetically assuming your friend's dead, and then you have to spitball and look. So there's a death certificate. What's it say the cause of death on the death certificate? That's the fun part. You get to make up.
So wait. So you're saying guess how your friend is going to die?
No, not saying. Just say like hypothetically, your friend is dead, and then you get to fill in the ME's, the medical examiner's autopsy report.
Which
as to
is how they
died.
died.
So lie about how your friend died.
No, it's for entertainment purposes. It's for entertainment purposes.
But wouldn't people would see this?
No, well, they'd hear about it because we talk about it on the air, unless it's too incendiary, of course.
this is turning into
So-
Abbott and Costello.
Unless
Right
you're-
now, what you two.
No.
Unless you're
So
fragile
Teddy, if I was going to
years.
write your autopsy, if I was
Autopsy,
going to
yeah.
read, and so that somebody had to
Yeah.
say it,
Somebody handed you
I would
yeah.
make it sound like you were number one, stone cold sober.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Ted, having not drank for the last 8 years of his life, who dedicated his life to helping children, helping old women cross the street like Stalin, doing all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
See,
I
now
would-
you're getting an obituary though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. There's a fine line there. Yeah.
Autopsy. Ted, you ready? It's very simple. Dead on a curb. Yeah, surrounded by alcohol bottles. Yeah, it would just be that would be the best thing.
They would just
ever.
look at his name and say, "Dead on arrival." That's it. Done.
That's actually our team name in bowling. I hate that name. Whoever came up with that silly name.
the worst.
That's why
All
they're
right.
that's
DOA,
in last
baby.
place. Okay.
All right, let's get to our guest because you know what, Teddy, the thought of I don't want to write your obituary, but I hope I get to. I hope I get to be the guy who does that. All right. Our guest this week is Dr. Philip Meersman, and I hopefully I'm saying it right. We'll see. He can correct me when he comes on here. He is a well-published author, a multilingual poet, and the co-founder of the World Poetry Slam. Dr. Meersman, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Hi, good evening. It's
Yeah.
on your side. Yes, for
Yes.
us it's good morning. Just to rectify, I'm not yet a doctor, so I'm a doctorandus, as it is said. So I'm aspiring
Inspiring.
doctor.
Nice.
Well, you're closer than us, so we're going to call you doctor anyway.
Okay, thank you.
You've earned it in my book.
I love that concept. Okay, so I saw in your bio that you were working on your doctorate. I assumed that you had finished. I started on my PhD. Yeah, I filled out the paperwork that said I wanted to have a PhD, and then I just stopped. Yeah,
Because you have to do the doctoral dissertation, right?
Yeah, it was too much work.
The master's
honestly.
is a thesis, the
Yeah.
PhD is a
And
dissertation.
so I just went around and told everybody I already was.
Okay.
And you know what? Nobody checks. As long as you say you have a PhD,
Yeah.
nobody asks for that piece of paper. So here's what I would say, Philip. Just go ahead and tell everybody you're done. What does it matter?
Yeah.
I feel like you're too good of a person to do that, so I can accept that. All right,
Thank you.
so World Poetry Slam. I looked up these videos, and this thing is wild. What is a World Poetry Slam?
Well, I don't know if you know the concept of a poetry slam, as in a competition where poets compete and there is a jury, be it audience or so-called professionals that give points, and at the end you have a winner. So you have, well, it's a Chicago, yeah, it's a Mark Kelly Smith started this in the 80s, 90s, 90s.
I think it was 1984 he started it.
Yeah.
Well, so let me ask you a question about, speaking of Chicago in 1984, because a friend of mine, I've lost touch with him over the years, but he was at the university I attended. Terry Jacobus. Do you know who Terry Jacobus is?
Not personally.
He's a poet. Well, he's a poet and a writer, and he started something. It was called Poetry Bouts with writer Al Simmons back in the early '80s, and he was the first spoken word poetry champ. And he defeated Gregory Corso in 1982. So they were doing something like poetry slams, but it was called spoken word poetry in 1982. And Terry's written a couple of books. He's a really interesting, really smart poet. But you've never heard of Terry, okay?
Isn't that weird? I mean, there's 8 million. We've got 8
well,
million.
no, I mean, he's a poet. He's in the industry. Have you ever heard of Poetry Bouts?
No, not.
Okay.
Look,
Okay.
I mean, just to sort of like my brain goes a little bit slow at this moment because I'm in Brussels in Belgium. So for me, it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
wow.
jeez.
Yeah.
I'm not that fast.
Welcome to my world. 1 o'clock in the morning. That's like.
Yeah. So by 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm already sobering up from my drinking that night.
2 hours before my bedtime.
All right. So when you have this. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So what I wanted to sort of say is that it's a competition, but it's a competition with people from all over the world. Our Poetry Slam Championship, so our World Poetry Slam Championship, has people from Japan up to Chile, from Australia up to Canada, that all participate, and we have translations published as a sort of subtitling or backtitling in different languages.
So is there a competition or qualification leading up to them joining the competition, the slam?
Yeah, at this moment, there is. So it's an international organization. The organization itself is quite horizontal, as they sort of say. But due to budgetary reasons, because there are at the moment around about 100.
I think we lost you.
140, 150. So we do at this moment a sort of continental championships because they exist. So you have in the Americas, you have the Abya championships. Abya being the indigenous Inca or Aztec name of the Americas, by the way.
Right.
Then you have the Europeans and you have the African championships. Only in Asia at this moment there is no continental, and in fact, nor in Australia, Oceania, there is also not a continental or an island slam. So we have like 3 times 10 champions that are going automatically, and then you have at this moment within Asia and Oceania, you have Japan, Australia, New Zealand that go, and then there are 7 tickets that are at this moment a bit divided between who's there. Sometimes if there is an ex aequo on the 10th place or whatsoever, that go in. But we try to, at this moment, establish with our people in Asia also a continental one.
Nice.
Okay, so is poetry? I mean, when you're doing this and you're performing, because like I said, I've seen the videos of what goes on.
Mhm.
Is it a young man's game? I mean, is it because you got to have the fire and the vigor, and a lot of the poems are really they're very much focused on like things that are happening and social
Mhm.
issues
Current
and things like
events.
that. So is it a young man's game? Do they bring that fire that they can kind of hit? Or is it like old cranky guys like us who are just bitching and moaning about things that we wish were exactly like they were when we were 10? How does that work?
Well, all ages are represented. It's also you have the very cranky ones, and you have the rather
They're probably the best poets,
young
right?
ones also. But we try to. For us, the rule is that the youngest that can come needs to be able to fly individually.
Okay.
We don't take parents.
Yeah.
That's just a practical. Just a practical issue. Some bring their parents, even at a more cranky age.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
look, Mama, I'm here.
Yeah.
What for us is also important is that it's never on the same spot, so that we move around. So we started the idea started in 2014. Then we went to become something serious, and as in we got a mailing, and then later on a WhatsApp group in 2016, where pre-COVID we had like 160, so 160 national organizers. Some countries have more than one national slam, for instance.
Oh, that's so it's all the people that come from their local ones. They work their way up.
It's like a local qualifying, and then you go sectional, regional. It sounds like that's
man.
what it sounds like. Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be. I mean, like again, I saw those videos. If you haven't seen them, go to World Poetry Slam and watch these videos. I mean, the people are so intense, and the things that they talk about, I mean, are so important to them. Now, I know you guys did in 2022. You guys did Brussels, right?
Yeah, we started in Brussels.
And then last year you were in Rio. So I'm assuming that was. I mean, it's kind of like I'm guessing like a maybe like a bachelor party and a frat party and all that mixed into one, where it was just like a giant like. Was it like just a giant drunken insanity that you guys got to hang out and do all this stuff, and you guys are at the bar and just everybody's doing poetry afterwards, and you're just like all the people in there are just going crazy? That's got to be the premise, right? I mean, you guys are way wilder than we think.
I will leave you to that imagination.
Especially in Rio.
What happens on stage and what has been recorded, you can see, and all the rest. No, they are. Everybody is quite sane whatsoever. But like Rio. It was in Rio last year, and we were in one of the favelas where already for the 15th time there was this poetry festival that moves around the favelas. I was like going to a little version of carnival with parties and concerts and dancing stuff until 6-7 o'clock in the morning.
Holy shit!
Oh, yeah, sounds like Vegas.
But without being a drunken party or whatsoever.
So my question is like, how much do you charge audience members to watch this poetry slam? Like what's your average size audience in person at these poetry slams, if you don't mind me asking?
Brussels, I think we had live. We had not such a big crowd, which was sort of like 500-600.
Okay, that's still pretty good.
But we had like 4,500 live online views.
Oh, okay.
In Brazil, because of the fact that we were then within this festival that already has 15 years of pedigree and whatsoever, the finals, I think we were about 1,200 people that were there. It was like going to a rock concert.
Yeah.
There was also a local one. So you have then also this cheering for the local poet and whatsoever. And in some countries, oral poetry as such, or performance poetry, call it slam or what, is very popular and has a big crowd as such. But we try to, not we try, we have the intention to live stream everything of the finals, also to make sure that we can share it at that moment. When we had, like in January, the European Championships in Antwerp, we had like 400-ish people in the room, but not the whole evening because we had 31 national champions competing from 31 different countries. So we did a one poem thing, so not the classical type of competition, but it's a European concept, the Eurosong concept, as in you do, that's a song competition. But anyway, but we had 8,000 people following the thing online.
Oh, that's good.
From as far away as Peru to Canada. And all over the European Union, the European continent, as well as some in Africa that followed us.
Okay.
Wow. So now I read this on your bio, and you tell me if this is accurate. You do improv poetry. Is that right?
Yep.
So you're up on stage, and somebody will yell something out, and you will do a poem about it. Is that correct?
It's even worse sometimes. As in going on stage and because I'm asking people to sort of throw in on a regular basis words. So that's
it's like an ongoing thing.
Yeah,
you're building onto.
It's not just one thing, but you try to connect what is happening with at that moment with the audience. And we are going now with end of April, beginning of May. We are going with a team from my university. We're going to Africa Burn, which is the African version of the Burning Man.
Wow.
Where we have people doing live drawing on tablets, which is then like people that really are
like good artists, right?
That are good artists. Thank you. That was what I was.
Yeah.
And that live drawing is projected onto a screen, and then meanwhile they make a live interpretation or a sphere or an atmosphere that they try to draw based on the poetry that I'm bringing, which is then based on people that are giving you.
Holy shit!
Wait a minute. So let me get this straight. People are throwing words at you. You're doing poetry, and then someone is creating art.
Yeah, someone's painting a picture.
From what you are saying. Yeah. Okay, listen to me.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. That is something that you have to have on that could be a goddamn TV show. That is the coolest thing I've ever heard.
It's fun. It's very well, after like say a half an hour to 40 minutes, then you're completely dead. Because it takes quite a lot of energy. But you can find these things on YouTube. So on my YouTube, Spoon in My Brain, you can definitely find some examples.
See, that's awesome. See, and here's the thing. I would never even know to look for that because I didn't even know that something like that existed.
Yeah.
But that's a great way to get people into poetry right? I mean, and even if you're an artist, that's a great, I've never heard of improv art. I've never heard of improv poetry either, but the combination of those two things is insane.
For a great artist to be involved in that, it's sometimes artists struggle with inspiration. They could just sit there and listen to you, and all of a sudden they're creating something that's just like mind-boggling, right? They're just it's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean that's got to be great for the artist as well as the audience, and then you as a performer. The artist has got to benefit great from that inspiration, just taking it to another level.
It's really intense. It's intense, but it's something that the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Antwerp every 2 years, I think, they do this sort of like big draw, which is sort of like they open up the academy and people can draw, and then you have different live settings that are there where their students, their bachelor and master students, get sometimes like 5 to 10 minutes to draw something. So that could be a live model, that could be a dissection of an animal or whatsoever, but that could also be a performance or sort of bondage. What is it? This hikaru or something? This sort of Japanese bondage.
Haiku.
I love Japanese bondage. I'm totally into that. All right, so do this for me. So all the people that aren't into poetry, and they say, "Oh, I'm never going to go into a poetry slam," because they think it's probably something that's not real exciting. How would you describe it so that people would go to this poetry slam and maybe local ones or something, and they're not going to see this boring stuff? What are they going to see if they go to one of these things?
Well, a competition in principle is it's a time frame. So the people on stage, if it's 3 minutes, their own written work. There is no musical accompaniment except what they can offer with their body or whatsoever. And the fun thing is that, we have an attention span of, let's say, 3 minutes.
Yeah,
that's
so every 3 minutes.
Correct, yeah.
There is somebody else. So even if there is a boring person in between or a boring poem in between, you have something else. And in most poetry slams, local poetry slams at least, the jury comes out of the audience. So they ask 5 random members or 5 random groups of the audience to give marks in between 0 and 10. So there is also a part of participation there, and you can sort of say whatever you want. And if you can mark, so this means that whatever your favorite is, you can give marks for that, and you can follow it. And once it goes then to a different stage, as in a continental or whatsoever, there are always translations there.
Yeah. So I have one question for you. How do you guard against plagiarism? So let's just say I have no poetry ability whatsoever. Let's say I came in and I just repeated Gwendolyn Brooks' "Raisin in the Sun." How would you know that I didn't get it from somebody, or I just took like the best person? I just found them. It's like AI. I just found the most talented person out there, and I just copied what they did, and I pretended it was me. Is there like any guardrails against that? So to separate the contenders from the pretenders.
In principle, at a certain moment, that will there are enough people that are there that can sort of uncover this. No, how do you say that?
Uncovers, right?
Unmask this
Fact check it,
at a certain moment. You can go about for a certain amount of time, but the question is, this is yourself. I mean, a lot of people going there. It's a very emancipatory type of way, because it's the cheapest, it's the easiest art form. The only thing is that you step onto the stage and you give the best of yourself.
Yeah.
It really is. I saw them. The people that did this are. I got goosebumps.
I've seen it. Yeah.
I didn't think it would be a big deal, but
yeah.
The things that they talk about and the things that they did. I read I saw one, Slim Shaka. I saw a poem that he did to qualify for last year's championship, and I will tell you right now, he spilled his heart out.
Yeah.
And what he talked about, and the the things that were going on in his country. I think he's from somewhere in Africa, I believe. If I saw Kenya or something.
Kenya. Yeah.
I know nothing about Kenya. I know nothing about his life, but from the way he said it and what he said, I mean, he basically told us his struggles.
Yeah.
And it was intense, and I think it was 2.5 minutes, and it was intense.
Oh, I know they're very well written, very well rehearsed, and the performances sometimes just like you just said, inspirational. It's crazy. But I would think like in Chicago, you just stack the audience with your friends, and that's how you win. That's the Chicago way.
You're thinking of voting.
We are bad people. We are bad people.
No. Look, I mean, that's why if there are 5 members of the jury, they can all give marks. And then the highest and the lowest score is taken off, which means that there is already... Then you need to have quite a lot of friends coming in to be able to have at least 3 members or 4 members of the jury.
Yeah, sure.
Or otherwise you will buy a lot of beers to the people.
All right, so this year you guys are going to be in Togo.
Yep.
Which is that West Africa?
Yeah, that's West Africa.
Okay, so what would it take since poetry slams were invented by Mark Smith here in Chicago in 1984, and if you guys are hilarious, I had to look this up. He invented them at the Get Me High Lounge in Chicago. That's where it started. That's where he did it. What would it take? I know you guys are 2025 in Mexico. What would it take to get you guys in Chicago in the next like 2026 or 2027? Come here, do this, get all those people here. I'm putting the pressure on you. What would it take to do that?
To come with the World Championships.
Yes.
Well, that will be 2032. There is the first spot available.
Is it really? You guys are planned out that far in advance?
Yeah, because it takes a while. Eh? You need to bring in 40 slammers from all over the world, 40 organizers, because their national organizers come with them. Plus then some people extra from different, from the organization. So let's say that you need to bring in 100 people, you need to lodge them for the amount of days that the festival is there. So you need to provide the venue, there is a live stream event and whatsoever. So yeah, depending on where you are in the world, like in Rio, for instance, what they did there, that was marvelous because there was also live interpretation for the in sign language, in Portuguese, in Brazilian Portuguese sign language. So you have all these type of things. So if we go, so we started in Brussels, then we went to Rio, then we go to Togo, then it's Mexico, then we go to Durban in South Africa, then we go to Japan. From Japan, we will go to Mozambique. From Mozambique, we go to France. From France, we go to Canada. From Canada, we go to Rotterdam. And from Rotterdam, then...
Chicago. I'm saying it right now, 2032, Chicago. And then, you know what? Make it 2034, and it can be, 50 years from the year that Mark Smith started the Poetry Slams. I think that's perfect, 2034.
I'm blown away.
That would be fantastic.
I'm blown away at how well organized. First of all, that you could name all the cities in sequential order is amazing. But that's who you are, right? You're a poet, and I get that. But the organization and the structure to be that well planned out. I mean, Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus isn't that planned out. It's ridiculous. Lollapalooza goes to one place every year, Chicago. That's amazing, and that's got to be great for all the artists too.
Well, it sounds super professional, but the fact is that most of the organizations worldwide are non-formal organizations. So there are still quite a lot of countries where a group of friends have been on organizing something like that because they are passionate about it for I don't know how many years. So and that's also the reason why it's their call. So we just say, if somebody wants to organize it, well, at least you need to do this. So this is what we ask from you. So 40 plus 40 plus, let's say 10, and then there are always sort of like the previous champion from another event that also comes, and you have a little bit of entourage here and there. Sometimes you have people with special needs. No, you have people with special needs where there is in a wheelchair somebody or a person with not blind but who needs assistance
Sure,
or
yeah.
whatsoever. So you need to have a little bit of extra. But that means 100 people from all over the world. There are visa procedures. Some countries are not so easy to enter or to pass by.
America's easy to get into.
Yeah.
That's what everybody's complaining about, I guess. I don't know.
Mm,
Everybody's welcome.
I have other stories to be honest.
I love it.
Oh, man.
I love it.
All right.
No,
yeah.
of people that for some countries we try to do even routes that flight routes that do not pass Europe or the United States because it's so problematic and so expensive to get visa. Need to take into account that for us, for instance, if you have if you come from very far away, $1,000 for an airplane ticket for some people would be quite okay, but there are countries where if you come from there, for instance, from West Africa, there are to go to another, not to Europe, but directly to like South America, you only have 4 airports on the whole continent that you could take. But traveling within Africa is problematic because some people to travel five different cities to be able to get to that hub or whatsoever. So there is quite a lot of things that we have found out. For instance, before we started really with the championship, we wanted to sort of make sure that everybody was on the same level. So we started with a manifesto where we sort of said, like, what are we? So on the one hand, you had quite a lot of countries that said, like, yeah, we want to have decolonization within this. On the other hand, you had quite a lot of countries where they said, like, yeah, LGBTQI rights need to be in there. Taken into account that in some African countries, for instance, there is still capital punishment on promoting LGBTQI rights.
Yeah. Well, they're strict Muslim. Yeah, they're strict Muslim countries within Africa. Yeah, so you're right. Logistically, I could see where somebody who's like in the lower echelon of economic-wise, it's cost prohibitive for them to travel thousands of miles. Like an airline ticket could cost $2,000 in U.S. dollars, assuming they could make it the 8-hour journey to the only airport in their vicinity. So that's why, now that you kind of said, you gave some context, it makes sense why a lot of your poetry slams are in the continent of Africa.
Well, now you could do virtual too now, right? You can have an element of virtual.
Yes, but also that is something where we think that everything is so easy, but there are countries where, for instance, electricity falls out during the night, or there is very bad internet connection.
Yeah.
The internet connection is checked.
Yeah.
Such.
Yeah.
I mean, we feel very privileged. I mean, I to be honest, by traveling quite a lot to different countries all over the world, I've experienced quite a lot of things where at that moment you just see how privileged you are.
Yeah.
And indeed, there are a lot of things that we sort of say that, yeah, but you can do this. And it's sort of like, not possible. Sort of sometimes even just little things. Like we had last year, people that were flying through Paris. And then it's sort of like, they need to go just to be 1 hour on the airport. They need a transit visa. And they've forgotten about that because so they were rejected.
Oh my God.
Even stay at the airport, were pushed back. They need to come back. And the people there went with family and friends to sort of pay immediately another ticket with a more direct line, which then costed like $7,000, which is for the people in that place almost their yearly wage,
Right.
just to make
Yeah,
sure
that's
that
insane, yeah.
their champion is represented.
Wow.
I mean,
That
it,
is,
it, it
that's
yeah.
tough.
So for them, it's also for a lot of underprivileged countries, it's part of a way out. It's part of no, I'm not saying immigration, don't worry at the borders, um, from wherever. No, but for them, it's sort of like they become stars as such, and it's an emancipatory process because some are even traveling for the first time abroad with these type of things, have never been abroad.
That's
For us,
amazing.
Yeah.
yeah, for us, it's something normal. We take an airplane from Europe and sort of like, yeah, we go on a holiday to, I don't know where, or we just do a weekend trip to New York. Hey, why not? We want to see something. We want to go to to see the Statue of Liberty and the Brooklyn Bridge and whatsoever, and then we fly back. Yeah, wow, hey, fantastic. I mean, for these people, internal travel within their country takes 6-7 hours by bus, and then they go to have a national slam, let us say. So we are not talking about what they have done for regionals and whatsoever. And
That's
also
awesome.
that changes per country. For instance, if you look at Brazil, there are 60 regionals champions, 60 regionals championships before you even are able to get further. So in bigger countries, it's already a tiered setting. So people have, before they became national champion, have already performed 4, 5, 6 times. So they are already the best of the best. And then moving outwards to a continental slam where they were up the top 10 of like 20 or 30 champions. And then you go to a world championship and then you win there.
So do you guys have? So do you guys have the web page and everything? Do you like accept charitable donations and things like that support the artists for traveling?
For Abiyala, for instance, they did a crowdfunding thing because, other countries, for instance, have inflation which is skyrocketing. Or like for Brussels, for instance, we had agreement, visa, and whatsoever for the national poet and the organizers from Haiti. But then this sort of like little revolution there started. So his passport.
Yeah, Haiti's in chaos right now, so yeah.
Yeah, his passport was at the French embassy. I'm not sure if he already has been able to get it back at this moment, even. So, I mean, some of these things, and we are setting up. I mean, our organization was founded finally in Brussels as a formal organization to be able to have this charitable donations and to find funding with commercial and governmental partners. It took us almost 2 years to get an account opened due to the fact that the secretary, I happen to be president, but I'm just, I don't like to go around with the title as such, but I mean, because it's mostly work that you do. And the title just gives you a lot of work. That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I have no title. Listen, Philip, thank you so much for being on. We appreciate it. I'm going to check out some local stuff because I'm going to have a blast with this.
Yeah.
When is Togo? What's the date for this year's championships?
It's in between the 12th. Let me check the agenda because I mean, November. Sorry for stalling here. It's in between the 12th and the 18th of November.
All right, so
and it's live stream, right? It's going to be live streamed and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it
I
will be
cannot.
live streamed via the national TV even because there the national TV is working with us.
Okay.
Great.
Awesome. All right. We cannot wait. I am super excited about this. Thank you so much for being on. And
Thank you for having me.
Hey,
Yeah,
you.
thanks for staying up.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I
Appreciate it.
appreciate you
so
staying
much.
up. I know it's late.
Yep.
Yeah, have fun with that, and we wish you the best of luck. And hopefully, in 2034, we'll be sitting in the audience, and maybe we'll get picked to be a jury.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps we could do a live show with you guys.
Yeah,
you can,
right,
You can just live stream it also.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. All right,
Oh,
thanks so much, Philip. Get a good night's sleep, and
Thank you,
thanks again, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
All right,
take
take
care.
care.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you very much. Take care.
Take care.
Oh man.
I forgot what the time difference
Yeah, big time.
is brutal.
So I mean, that's the biggest thing about.
We could have started early for him.
I gave him
I
the
did-
option. I
Oh,
gave him the
okay.
option. And
Okay.
he was very cool about it.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
nice of him.
I said we can start early. I do that with anybody that's
Sure, I
that's
forgot. Yeah,
overseas
yeah.
because in a couple of weeks we've got Thomas Erickson, and I believe he's in Scotland. I'm just going to say
I think
Scotland.
it's Scotland.
Scotland.
Yeah.
If it's not Scottish, it's crap. But yeah, so we're going to start early for him, and I think we're starting early next week for the hot pepper guy. Yeah, because he's on the East Coast and he wants to get to sleep.
That
That's like another country.
it is. Yeah. Yeah. America's full of different countries, right? That's
is.
amazing what they're doing, and you know what? I'm still trying to take in everything he said about the dynamics of getting everybody together in the place that they're going to have the slam. Because
It's gotta be tough.
It's almost impossible that they put this together, and it does come together. But I'm sure, like he had said, some people just they fall out because of logistics. They can't make it. But it's
It does make you feel privileged, right?
oh my goodness,
Economics,
yes.
logistics.
I bet you there's nobody in the world that can appreciate what he has more than him, Philip, just because of what he's seen and then where he lives, and he's
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I mean, he's gone to
The stories he's heard.
Yeah, he's written. I don't know. I'm going to say 8-10 books. He's been involved in poetry slams all across the world. I mean, starting in like the 90s.
So my buddy I was talking about, Terry Jacobus, he does know Mark Smith. I was looking up stuff. He did start that in Chicago in 1982.
It's 1984.
No.
Oh, his thing.
They
Yeah,
started
the,
that. I mean,
the
and-
contest, right?
Yeah, and then 2 years after that, they evolved it. I mean, he was world champion in '82, and this was before the next level, and then now it's evolved into this.
Yeah, and it's not boring.
Yeah.
I'll
No,
tell you
I
right
know.
now.
I
If
went
you
to
watch
one-
these videos
Yeah.
from the poetry slam championships, it's pretty fucking.
So I didn't get a
intense.
chance to ask him, but like, so for example, let's just
He
say
would've said no.
you're in the final three, right? So let's just say, okay, you've gone through the whole gauntlet, and now you're there, and you're like the final two. You're like it's like a spelling bee, right? You and this other person are there.
It's exactly like a spelling bee.
What do
Ted.
they? What do they? I mean, do they like give you like so you have to come up with something right there, or do you get a chance to write your own poem in
No, it's
I
advance?
think all of these is it's your own creative
Your
poem.
stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's your own
So they
creative
don't put you
poem.
on the spot and like you like.
No,
ad-lib,
not like
yeah.
what he does with
Yeah.
dude.
Right,
that,
no.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I would pay to see.
Well, that's
A
so
guy-
I've seen what I've seen.
never seen that.
Well, I've never seen an artist like rendering it, but I've seen stuff like that, like like Ted, like the game Pictionary.
Yeah, I was gonna say to do an etch a sketch, like an etch a sketch. Remember we were talking about the etch a sketch the other
No,
day?
but I've
you have to make
seen-
the picture of the etch a sketch.
Did you just compare?
No, listen,
the-
I'm not done talking. So like Pictionary, right, where you get a word and you got to draw it and they got to
Yeah.
guess what it is.
Right.
I've seen that done at Second City where the audience is throwing out things, so it's a total improv thing.
Yeah, sure.
And it's an evolution of it. And at one point you're using like a mark, so and there's like a element of Pictionary involved as well as like acting out.
Yeah.
But it's not poetry. It's just kind of like you're reenacting a scene. But he's building on it. It's building on based on what people shout out. Like, okay, now give me this. And like, okay, and now you're doing. I've seen stuff like that before, but I haven't. What he's describing is a whole nother level.
Yeah, adding the art and the.
Yeah.
I mean, that would just be cool as shit. And then you can just buy that stuff, or I don't know, maybe they give it away. I don't know, raise
Some
money.
of it might be even become
Yeah.
a story.
I mean, it does sound really cool.
It takes
right?
a life of its own. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it
cool.
It takes on a life of its own.
It really does. The whole thing really does freak me out,
Yep.
man. I'm trying to figure out. If it's something that sounds cool,
Yeah.
or if it's something that is cool.
No, because I was thinking, anytime there's a competition among people, regardless whether it's sports or in this case poetry, that's why I brought up the plagiarism aspect. Because not that you got AI, couldn't somebody who just has who's halfway motivated, just say, hey, you know what, I have a writer's block. I'm on a lot of stuff. So either you're gonna like microdose on ketamine or LSD to try to open up your mind for more creativity, or you're just gonna go to AI and just say, hey, I need to come up with the best poem ever right now to win this poetry slam. I hate to say that, but
I think these people are like. I mean, I think that the artists themselves are more. That's what they do, right?
Yeah. So the ones I saw a bunch of.
Hopefully,
like I said,
in theory,
hopefully,
in theory,
hopefully.
I saw a bunch of the poems, of the videos of the poems that people qualified for 2023.
They're pretty personal, right?
Yeah, and like I said, that Slim Shaka one,
Yeah.
they're all pretty much like this. They're very personal.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but Ted's right. It's easier than ever.
Oh yeah, it's easier than ever to cheat. Yeah, sure. I'm sure you can say, oh, I care about this happening in my country. I care about that happening. I care about that happening.
But you can attack.
Or I could say this. I could say this happened to me, and for example, I can go on Reddit and read like 5 articles of rage bait about people about whatever perceived injustice was committed.
Yeah,
I can
no one's going to believe that because you're a woman that you weren't given a job or
red flags are all over the place.
There's going to be a lot of
Wait,
red flags.
That's the name of a new poem, Red Flag.
Yeah.
Ode to a red flag.
Yeah, you can't say something about being like gay. You can't say something about being gay, and then you say, "Oh, Ted, you're gay." Say, no, it's like, oh wait, that's ChatGPT right there.
Mark, do you know when a red flag overrides a green flag? I'll get back to you later about that. Yeah, I'll get back to you later.
Is that what are you doing? Is that some kind of thing that we're supposed to know?
Yeah, you didn't know that.
What's a red flag and a green flag?
Green flag is a good sign. But then the red flag comes along that negates the green flag.
It turns brown. That's a brown flag.
We'll talk about that some other time.
That's a brown flag.
Yeah, we'll get into it some other time. So on a lighter note, this isn't a lighter. So I guess Madonna, I think it's Madonna. She was having a concert somewhere, and then there was a point where she told the audience to stand up for whatever song she was singing, and everybody stood up except this one person. So she stopped the set to berate the person who didn't stand up, and it turned out that person was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, that was 30 years ago.
And they couldn't stand up.
What?
30 years ago.
Oh, I thought that just happened.
No, it was 30 years ago.
Okay. Well,
so Madonna's been a bitch for 30 years. She's hated people in wheelchairs for 30 years. Is that what we're saying now?
Plus, this is taking a life on its own. It wasn't Madonna.
It wasn't Madonna.
No, now it's Madonna. Like this is this big thing going on.
No, I just read it. I just read it
nobody
like
good.
within
It was
the last
Cindy
week.
It happened. It did happen, but I remember.
No, I read it within the last couple of weeks.
Well,
I don't
if
know
you read it, then it's got to be true.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it didn't happen 30 years ago. They were not going to have the 30th anniversary of Madonna, berating a handicapped person.
She hasn't performed. She didn't even start a tour yet.
So maybe it's not her. Maybe it's somebody else. But somebody did.
I think Lady Gaga did something like that.
Maybe it was Lady Gaga. Yeah.
So here, I'll tell you the freak out that happened just today with I got a bunch of guys we play golf with, all the guys we know, right? Yeah. And they have a politics chat thread. Okay, so one of the guys found a thing where Ronald Reagan said, and it was kind of cool. Ronald Reagan said, "Listen, we don't want to vilify people coming from Mexico. We want to, let them in, get them working, get them paying taxes, being part of America, open that border up, back and forth." And it was a really interesting thing that he said, right? Yeah. And this is from like
back in 1980.
1980,
yeah.
Right? And then they actually passed a law in 1982 that kind of allowed that. And all the Republican people who don't want to do anything like that were championing Ronald Reagan. So now this thing is out there.
Yeah.
And now they're all saying one thing. What do you think they're all saying? It's fake. They're saying the video is fake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was doctored. It was a deep fake.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
he ran on that and his
but they passed
campaign
the bill.
trail.
Yeah, they did the whole thing. But now what they're saying is that they love Ronald Reagan. He was a tough guy.
Yeah.
Well, he was a governor of California.
He was an actor. Then he was a governor of
California. That was the issue
right?
of his. That was
He might have been the last Republican governor of California, to be honest with you, because I don't think there's a Republican.
No, Arnold Schwarzenegger was.
Oh, that's right. He was a Republican governor. Yeah. But yeah. So
of California.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just thought that was funny that the first thing, like that he said that, and what he said, whether you like it or not, it makes sense, right? Yeah. Then we passed the bill, we do all this stuff, but when it came out, so all the hardcores are like, nope, fake.
Yeah, but it's not really, without going into immigration itself, it's obviously a problem that can be solved, but neither the Democrats nor the Republicans want to solve it for political reasons. Obviously, the Republicans want to use that as a hot-button topic for the upcoming election. So, of course, if they pass the bill now to, say, curb immigration or illegal immigration, then that would kind of take a quiver out of their arrow, so to speak. So they want that. They want to perpetuate that issue. Just so that's the boogeyman, right? So like I said, going back to my original thesis, the Democrats and Republicans, they pretend they hate each other, and I'm sure there are ones who really do dislike each other in real life.
Oh, God, I know what you're going to say.
Behind closed doors, they're all friends. They're all friends. That's the deep state. That's the function. That's the main thing with them. It doesn't matter who the president is, because the presidents come and go. Just like in Illinois, it doesn't matter who the governor is. Mike Madigan was a Speaker of the House for 50 years, and lo and behold, he's up on corruption charges. Nobody saw that one coming, right? Yeah. So no legislation could get passed by the governor because he had to go through Mike Madigan and his cronies and John Cullerton, who was the leader of the House in Illinois, and those guys have been there forever. And and even Rod Blagojevich, even though he got convicted, he called it right. He said he's the real crook, and he was right.
All right, so here, I got a story about...
I'm off on that now.
Yeah, I got a story about corruption, and I think this is the greatest thing I have ever seen in my life. I sent this to you guys. Yeah. I don't know if you saw it or not. Clark County, Indiana. Did you see the story I sent you about Clark County, Indiana?
Was it the lady with the glasses?
The lady with the... No, there's nobody... Oh, the
mugshot of her?
Yeah. Okay.
The sheriff's daughter or something?
Right.
Yeah,
so this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. So inside Clark County, Indiana, is a tiny little town called Utica Township.
Never heard of it?
Never heard of it. You know why? Because there's less than 7,000 people in Utica Township.
That's not small.
It's a town of 7,000 people. We live in a town of 8 million people.
Well,
our suburbs
3 million.
Hold on. My high school had 5,000 people.
How many people live in Niles?
More than 5,000. More than 7,000.
For the sake of argument, it's a small town.
It's a small town in Indiana.
Okay. Anyway.
So they elect a guy named Jamie Noel as sheriff of their town. Okay. So he's the sheriff, and he was hired about 8 years ago. Now, after a few years, he also becomes the chief of fire. What do you call it? Fire
marshal?
Fire marshal, head of the fire department.
Yeah.
So now he's the chief of police. And he's the chief of the fire department.
Is he the mayor, too? Because usually in those small towns, they're the mayor, too.
So the only thing he isn't is the mayor.
Yeah.
That's it. He's the chief of police, the chief of the fire department. Mm-hmm. He's got all the power in the world. Yep. And what do you think he did?
He did a great job as a public servant, but that's not the case because that's why we're talking about him right now. So why don't you tell us?
He went absolutely batshit fucking crazy.
Worse than the mayor of Dalton?
Dixon.
Dalton. It's Dalton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Way worse.
Okay.
Way worse than this. Okay. You ready? So he starts by selling equipment that the sheriff's department has and the fire department. He just starts selling it.
To like private and
just selling it. He starts selling it online.
He opened an eBay store?
I didn't recall exactly how he did it.
That's what he did.
Facebook Marketplace,
but
perhaps?
he starts
same
Craigslist.
Thing, right?
Craigslist.
Yeah.
So he starts selling the equipment, right? Now he does this. He starts buying equipment for the fire department and the police department, and he starts selling that. Yeah.
And where's the comptroller to put the kibosh on this?
There's no kibosh. Oh. This occurred for 8 years, and this is just a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
So I want you to think about a town of 7,000 people.
Yeah.
And this guy is stealing from everywhere, right and left.
This town is literally on the Ohio River, which is just across the border of Kentucky.
Yeah.
The river separates Indiana from Kentucky, there.
Okay.
I mean, look where it's at.
Is it near Louisville?
It's a stone's throw from Louisville.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now he's going absolutely batshit crazy, right?
He's drunk with power.
He's drunk with power. At this point now, he has the guys who are working in the fire department and the police department doing his bidding.
And by the way, it's a population of 776.
That's even worse.
Utica Township?
Not 7,000.
That's 700?
Well, Utica Township in Clark County, Indiana, United States, the population was, in 2010, 776.
Okay. What I saw was 6,700 people.
That's a huge influx of...
Let's assume.
I'm just saying. I just saw that.
Well, they didn't have the money for it. Okay, so now
can't afford to live there.
Yeah. So now
now it says a population of 860, but Clark County's probably huge. So it's probably,
maybe I was looking at Clark County.
Well, that's probably
because even though he lived in Utica, he was technically the sheriff of
Clark
the county.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
He ran the fire department out of Utica. Okay. So now he's buying equipment and selling it.
Yeah.
Okay. He's got all the employees doing his work.
Yeah.
Okay. They're cleaning his cars and they're running his errands.
What was he like? The guy from who's the guy from
Boss Hogg. This
No,
is Hazard County.
no,
I'm telling you right
Boss
now.
Hogg.
No, he's like Ben Gazzara from Roadhouse. He's like he owns the whole town.
Yeah,
he can
same
just do
thing.
whatever he wants.
Yeah.
You know, he's the bad guy in
Exactly.
Roadhouse. Yeah,
I love
he's
that.
guy.
Yeah,
he's like
perfect.
the Ben Gazzara
And then
character.
this is what's happening.
No one
Now,
could stop him.
No, he could drive his Mustang wherever he wants down the
Down the
road.
street.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I laughed because I'm like they're cleaning
Who's
his
playing him in the
cars
new movie?
in Roadhouse. And
The remake with Jake Gyllenhaal. Who's playing that character that Ted
I have
mentioned?
no idea.
The bad guy.
Well, I know what's his name. The
Jake.
MMA guy
Oh.
is playing the bad guy. He's playing the other fighter.
Oh yeah,
what's
the
his name?
Irish guy.
Oh,
yeah.
McGregor, Conor
McGregor,
McGregor.
yeah.
He's going to fight. That's the beginning. They fight, and then he gets beat up, and he does
Yeah.
that stuff. All right, so this guy's got people.
Wait, I
and
want to talk about Roadhouse.
Okay, we'll get back to it.
Roadhouse. So they got him cleaning his cars, and I thought that's pretty funny. Like, how long could it take, right, to clean his cars? Here's what it is. He's now taken tons of money from the fire department, and he's bought. Are you ready for this? 133 cars.
For himself?
So he's buying the cars with the fire department money.
Oh, to resell, and so he's detailing the.
It
He's
is-
having them play detail
And
the
then
car.
he's
How long?
selling
What
them
period of time has this happened?
8 years.
8 years.
A
Oh,
total of 8 years. All this is happening. So now he's buying and selling 133 cars. He's buying the cars with the fire department money, selling those cars, buying other ones in his name.
But everybody is onto this, and because it's a town of 860, he's buying people off. No one's saying anything, and the county's probably got a blind eye to it for some reason or another, right? It's the only thing that makes sense.
So there is
Everyone's an accomplice.
when Teddy
on this.
said the comptroller, there is a guy. So
Accomplices, yeah, okay.
this everybody ends up being busted.
Yeah.
Okay. So this guy but the story of the busting is actually pretty funny. So the comptroller is the only guy, and he's on the hook for like they said that he stole like $200,000. He's the only guy that hasn't been charged. So I'm assuming that he's
the
rolled
one
over.
talking.
He states evidence. He's
Yeah.
he's the witness that
All right.
got immunity. Yep.
So he's buying and selling cars. Now, here's where it gets really good. He ghost payrolls his wife and his daughter. Okay?
Lovely. Yeah.
So now they're getting paid
might as well
and
go
they're
all the
not
way.
working.
Might as well go all the way. Right?
No, let's go all the way. He gives them a county credit card, and they each run up in the last 3 years $100,000 each on the county credit
For
card.
personal expenditures.
Now, I want you to think about all the things he's done so far. And at no point does he feel like he is even close to getting caught.
Yeah.
At no point. He's selling equipment. He's buying and selling equipment.
He's embezzling.
He's in charge of everything, right? Buying and selling cars.
Yeah.
Got his wife on the payroll, daughter on the payroll.
Yeah.
They're spending hundreds of thousands of
Of
dollars.
taxpayer money.
And the best part is when they
That's
go
hor-
through the
that's
daughter's things, it's like to make it sound bad, right? Clothes, Netflix,
Yeah.
and tanning. That's what they made it, right?
She was kind of pale in her mugshot, so I understand.
Yeah. and so they're running through all this money. They're doing all this stuff, and he still isn't sure that he's going to get busted.
Yeah.
Right? When they finally bust him, they arrest
How did they bust him, by the way?
they once the money started running and people started. I think
Somebody asked
Mark
the
is right.
question.
The comptroller,
Yeah.
the comptroller got it, and all of a sudden he's just like, all right.
There had to be some city council
Oh,
meeting where
wait.
someone said, "Hey, we're missing $300,000, and where the hell did all this stuff go?"
Okay, hold
Sheriff,
on. Hold on.
fire marshal.
I forgot this one. At one point,
crazy.
a married guy, he knocked up a Clark County councilwoman, and he had to pay child support.
Not he did.
No,
The
he did not.
taxpayers did.
The taxpayers did. He used county money
Nice.
to pay child support for the chick that he knocked up.
Yep.
Okay, so as it goes through, he's now busted. He's being charged with 25 felonies.
Yeah.
His wife with 10, his daughter with 5, and all of it's going to be the big one is tax evasion. So they took all this money in and they never paid taxes on it.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So all this is run out. His daughter just got arrested like Friday.
Yeah.
Right. So it's all done.
Wow.
Yesterday, today's Tuesday. Yesterday, he had a brother. His brother passed away. Okay, the police chief's brother passed away. He was the executor of the will. Okay, I guess when he executed the will, he kept the money. So on Monday, yesterday, his 3 nephews, his brother's sons,
Yeah.
are now suing him because he stole $50,000 from them
Yeah.
when he was the executor of the will.
Yeah.
He didn't give them the money they were supposed to.
Of course
and
not.
He stole from his own family.
Yeah.
I want
Well,
you
if you
to.
can't steal from your own family, who can you steal from?
I want you to
That's
think
the
about
slogan
that.
in Clark County there.
Should have been Clark County, Nevada. Should have gone to the Mustang Ranch instead. It would have been a lot cheaper.
Dude, can you even imagine what? I mean, in that small little town, he had to have more money than everybody else combined, right? It was never enough, and he had to go for more. Can you imagine what he must have looked like walking down the street? I mean, he must have been just flipping off literally flipping off everybody.
Well, that's one of those towns when it gets so corrupt, you have to send in the feds to just basically blow it all up and just remove everybody from power and just kind of press the reset button. Because you got to assume
that's what happened, right?
The city council's corrupt or they're willfully ignorant, right? Because even if they claim, oh, we didn't know what's going on, well, you should have. That's the whole point, So you can't, when it's that tight in a community, I don't think you can claim willful ignorance. Somebody knows something. Somebody knows something.
I would have to imagine. I mean, besides the comptroller guy, but I would have to imagine a lot of people knew it.
Everybody was complacent. You know what I mean? I mean, everyone was just
but that's your money.
Is there property tax?
Here's the thing: if you're not getting anything out of it,
is there property tax?
This,
the property tax bill must be going up because there's no money to pay for stuff. So he's obviously stealing at a rate.
Right.
He's stealing at a high rate.
Yeah. No, you're right. I don't know. Who knows what he was like.
So they have to raise
this.
the taxes to cover this shortfall, right? Because obviously the money that's earmarked for city funds is being diverted to this guy personally. So where's the salaries for these police officers? What kind of cars are they driving? Are they driving like 10-year-old cars? Because the new ones are obviously being hot.
He's got 133 cars. They're probably all driving Porsches, right? You give everybody a Porsche, and you give 10 Porsches away, and then you can sell 123 Porsches.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like there's a lot more co-conspirators in this plot than just those three lovely individuals. The family.
But I got to figure there was no whistleblower over 8 years. No whistleblower.
I'm sure there's a lot of chatter at the local diner on Main Street.
How long was Dukes of Hazzard on the air?
Yeehaw.
At least 8 years.
But here's the thing the thing I thought of immediately when it was all done, because it's where it is, right? And it's very rural. I can't believe nobody just fucking whacked him.
Well, I know. The whole thing. I'm thinking in my mind. Does he go hunting?
Right.
Hunting accident.
So the funny thing is there was actually a book, and this is based on a true story, like years ago, like I'm not saying like 30, 40 years ago. So it was kind of a small town like that somewhere in Missouri, and this guy, he was like a local town bully, just like an older guy. He made everybody's life miserable. I think he like assaulted some people, and then I think somebody from the town shot and killed him, like kind of in broad daylight in front of everybody, and nobody was arrested.
Old Tom Sucker.
Nobody fessed up.
What?
Stuker, old Tom Stuker. That's who you're talking about. Nobody
fessed up, and then they got away with it. But I'm saying like this was like it was like a small town, and I guess this guy had been tormenting the townspeople for years and years, and like he got a guy what was coming to him, So unfortunately, this guy, what'll happen is if he's smart, he'll plead guilty. He'll probably get like 8 to 10.
Are you ready?
Oh.
All three family members
pled not guilty.
Have pled not guilty.
That's good. You know why?
All
three. So when they get convicted, it's going to be a nice little. We'll give you 10 to 15 right now, or if we convict you, if you have to go through the jury trial, you'll get 25 to 30. So
Ted rules. Ted rules.
Yeah.
I like that. You get what you deserve.
Anyway, going back to this, remember the lady in the town of Dixon, Illinois, who embezzled, she had like a horse ranch. She was driving an
Lauren
SUV.
Betty Maltese. We were just talking about her.
That was the mayor of Cicero, not her. It was the other lady. Yeah, she was like the comptroller, and the way she got caught, she went on vacation and she just left a folder on her desktop where whoever was like her substitute opened it up, and all her, and she did. So she didn't steal $20 million. She stole $80 million over 20 years. Yeah, we talked about that lady.
How does a town? You don't know Dixon, Illinois.
It's crazy.
It is a shithole.
She had like a $2 million.
She had a horse.
Home.
No, she had a horse farm.
Camper,
she had a horse farm.
Yeah.
She drove. I mean, she was a $70,000 a year, employee. And at no point did anybody could. But I guess she did the auditing of the books as well. Like I said, it's just shocking that nobody, just seeing the physical, assets that she had, could put two and two together. And how do you miss $80 million over 20 years in the town of Dixon, which isn't that a prison town?
It is
a prison town, right?
It is a small, shitty little town.
Yeah.
And for them to
filled with dumb people, obviously.
Yeah. For them to have $80 million over 20 years is amazing.
Yeah.
For them to miss $80 million over 20 years is impossible.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't that where Ronald Reagan's from? Dixon?
No, he's from Galena. No, I think he went to.
Yeah, it's something. It's something. Place else.
What college did he go to?
Ronald Reagan isn't a real person.
Yeah,
let's be honest. He never said those things, and now we all.
He went to Eureka. He was from Eureka, Illinois.
Yeah, Rita.
Eureka.
Rita Crudwell, right?
Rita Crudwell, that's the woman. She's the comptroller, yeah. But it wasn't $20 million. We misquoted. That's $80 million. She stole over 20 years, and she only got busted because she's got lazy.
Yeah, the Dalton mayor, the mayor Dalton.
What happened? I didn't hear about. I didn't hear
so
the story.
so she's Mayor Dalton. She's stealing. She makes up a charity. It's a bogus charity.
Nice.
But
Yeah,
she's also
Tampico, Illinois.
Yeah, she's
Tampico,
also the
yeah.
comptroller in some township.
Yeah.
So she's running. She has two. This is impossible. 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah, seems yeah.
And
Big time conflict of interest.
And she's stealing. She's strong-arming. It's like what happened in Niles.
But this just happened fast. This
is
like a year.
Oh, she
She's
didn't.
gone.
Yeah.
She went batshit crazy. Yeah, she's out of her fucking mind.
So is she still the mayor of Dalton?
No,
I think she's going to be the mayor of Dalton for about 10 more minutes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and then it's going to be ugly. And here's the easiest way to get him, and which is how they're going to get this guy, this guy and his wife and his daughter.
Yeah.
It's all tax fraud. So they literally owe tons of it in taxes. So if they can't pay it,
that's the biggest
they're
penalty.
going to federal prison.
Well, that's how they got Al Capone. They didn't get Al Capone for bootlegging or murder. They got him for tax evasion, and they sent him to Alcatraz. So
you know what the
'cause
bad news is?
he was-
Alcatraz is closed.
he was
so
making $20 million a year tax free in 1918, 1919. So they didn't bust him for that. They got him for the tax evasion part. And the funny thing is, the lawyer didn't even argue that half the stuff he was supposed to pay taxes on wasn't even illegal at the time. But anyway, he died of tertiary syphilis, so that's another story. So.
Well, you know what I can hope. You know what I can hope. All these people that steal all this money, I hope they all get tertiary syphilis. I don't know what it is.
It's really bad syphilis.
But it sounds like primary syphilis is like the easiest one to get. When you get to tertiary syphilis, it sounds like really bad syphilis.
I want you to picture syphilis on steroids.
It's coming down. It's coming down right now. The Ohio River.
Tertiary syphilis.
It's on its way to Clark County.
Yeah.
God damn.
It's going to your medulla oblongata.
No,
There's a tugboat of it coming down.
Yeah, man, I'm so excited to see people actually, I don't know, get some sort of justice. So I can't wait to see what happens.
Well, it's going to be,
and it's funny justice.
Well, the funny thing, the best part is when they seize all their assets, because I'm sure whatever assets he had, I'm sure his house is beautiful. I'm sure it's a lot better than the houses in town.
The funniest part is his entire family might be in federal prison.
Yeah,
I want you to think about it. Yeah. How many people can even say that? Everyone in my immediate family.
Yeah.
Is in federal prison.
Mm-hmm.
That's very, very rare.
Yeah,
I mean, almost nobody can say that.
Well, the funny thing, so he's used to obviously a very high, high lifestyle right now. So he's basically going to go from 100 to 0 because not only is he going to go to federal prison for let's say he goes for 10 years, which is probably being optimistic, but all his assets. Bank accounts frozen.
Oh, it's gone. He has nothing.
They're going to auction off his house, his car. So when he gets out, assuming he lives that long, he's going to have 0, right? And then obviously he's going to be a social pariah. He can never go back. He's not going to run for sheriff again in that town, right? So
Marion Barry.
So
that's
he's
all
done.
I got to say.
Yeah, he's
going right back to that town.
Well, Marion Barry, he won re-election.
He's going right back to that town.
Right back to that town.
And you know what he'll say? I was railroaded.
That's it.
I was
he's
railroaded.
Got friends
set up.
He's got friends.
Did he say that? Did he say
lots of money?
Did he say that with the crack cocaine that sprinkled on his nose, even though that was all on video?
Oh,
that's
man.
a deep fake too, right? Okay.
That's all a deep fake. All right, so we got to put this thing to bed. Mark, you get to go first. Last thoughts.
My last thoughts are practice your putting, Matt, because we're golfing tomorrow again.
Oh, wow, that's kind of personal. That wasn't really show related.
No, I don't want to lose like that anymore.
You don't want to cry like
I don't
want to
win because you have to 3-putt.
You don't want to
I
cry
don't want
anymore?
to see this shit anymore.
Oh.
The greens are going to be drier. It's going to be. I'm going out there tonight mowing them. I'm mowing the greens.
I'm going to give my final thought. Public officials out there, just stop stealing shit that doesn't belong to you, please. Do the job that you were hired for or got voted into office for. All right,
You're not king.
Get a side job, all right. Get a side hustle if you need some extra money.
Sell cars.
It is a side hustle.
Yeah.
Sell cars.
Selling all the shit you work, selling all the shit at your job.
Here, you want a side hustle? Buy some puzzle games at Costco and then resell them on eBay Marketplace or something for a 10% markup. Okay, so there you go. All right.
Oh, that is the saddest thing. All right, so I'm gonna leave it with this. You don't know what really good poetry is until you see one of these slam things. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Expand your horizons. Get out. I mean, whatever town you're in, they have tons of these things. Get out, check it out, enjoy it. And in November, when the World Poetry Slam comes in, watch this thing live because you are going to see a lot of people who are very passionate about a lot of things. really say some cool things, and you know what? It's really going to change the way you think.
I'm gonna YouTube that guy Slim Shaka later on.
Slim
today.
Shaka.
Yeah,
It was
out.
amazing.
Check it out.
His poem that qualified him for last year. I think it's on the YouTube. Slim Shaka qualifications for 2023 qualifications.
Yeah. Check it out.
Absolutely fucking amazing.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. All right. We got the Hot Pepper guy next week. We got an author who Thomas Erickson, who wrote a book called
Wait, the Hot Pepper guy's on next week?
Yeah,
Oh, I
Surrounded
can't
by
wait.
Idiots. Yeah. Oh man, and we got hot sauce. Mark's going to make some food for us, and we are going to literally eat hot sauce
Bring the meatballs.
We're going to eat hot sauce
Meatballs.
on the show, and Ted is the world's biggest puss when it comes to hot stuff.
I'm gonna do the best
So
I can.
you are going to see.
We are going to have
You're
milk.
going to
Well,
hear.
we're going to have milk here for you.
I haven't drank milk in 20 years, Ted. There's
That's
no
what you
milk in my
drink.
home.
I don't drink
milk.
milk.
No, I'm going to bring milk because that's what takes. You don't want to drink water.
Bring a bottle. Bring a bottle of milk, like the old time.
I'm going to go to
bottle.
Oberweis and get
Yeah.
chocolate and white.
Yeah. All right. Hey, we love everybody. Tell everybody you know about the show. Follow us online. Like us. Or, I don't know, hit the don't like button. I don't give a shit. Do whatever you're going to do, and we will see everybody next week.